This video is going over insulation. So we've insulated most of the walls with half-inch poly iso. Excuse me. This is right there. Looking pretty good. We made templates out of paper and just went around these with a crayon and got a pretty close match to that window. We're going to have the insulation on the top and bottom, but not on the sides. On the sides we're just going to have plywood, which I'll show during the next video as we install the siding. Anyway, not too bad. Just put enough board that I can attach pieces of plywood everywhere I need to. Did the best I could going around all of this electrical. It's going to be contained in a cabinet, and also going to have plenty of wall material to cover up all that as well. Yeah, so that's it. Cut around the wheel wells. Got the electrical there again. Going to try to insulate the pop out and get it ready for upholstery. So you can see I made a paper template. Just use the universal crayon technique around the edges. Pretty sophisticated. Now I'm using this template to cut out a piece of foam to frame the window. I'll show you what I've done in there. So inside the van, you can see that this back panel here is, I used that same template, which you can see outside sitting on the table. I used that same template, so I know it's a pretty good fit. And then in addition, there's very little extra flange to secure anything to the top and bottom, and so I'm just going to insulate this with half-inch on the top and bottom, make a nice sill. And on the sides, I do have flange, as you can see, and I've tapped into that and drilled this piece of wood, so that the idea is that, and I'll show you this, but the piece of plywood goes back here and then is trapped in with a side panel. The side panel traps the back panel and also the top and bottom panels. Let's see, I think that's about it. Oh, and then the piece that I'm cutting out there is going to fill all the rest of this, so it's nicely framed in insulation before the upholstered final panel goes on. So I have the framed insulation done now. You can see I was cutting this piece here. I think it came out pretty good. It's pretty tight. You can see how I did it. So back here you have, that's like an inch of insulation back there. You have your main panel here. This is a half-inch piece of insulation, and it fits pretty flush with the window. I like that. You have the side piece where you're going to be able to drill in your upholstered plywood piece, which I've already mentioned. Just kind of showing. My daughter insulated this one. She went with a layered approach rather than the other way that I did it. And then you have a sill here where you'll have another piece of plywood that's upholstered. So, and then of course the top, which I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty nice too, nice and flat. So a little bit more cleanup on this hole before I install the upholstery, but yeah, came out all right.